described as a noble profession. But what does it take to be a good teacher and stay one? Let us speak with someone who has trained many teachers and taught thousands of students. Our guest today is Uma Apte, a German language educator with over 30 years of experience. She is the founder and academic head at Deutsch Aktiv, a language institute in Pune. Over the years, she has taught German to many students, working professionals, and aspiring teachers. We've met her in our previous podcast of German from Experts. For those who have not seen that podcast, we have attached a link in our description box below. Uma ma'am also leads a structured teachers training program that supports new educators to develop their classroom skills, lesson planning, and professional confidence. She regularly works with schools and colleges to support teacher development. We're glad to have her here and talk about what is it like to be a teacher and what it takes to be a good one. So what drew you to teaching and what made you stay?
Well, from school days itself, teaching always was my dream job. Now, people talk about making a career into different fields, and from school days itself, I always have talked about teaching as a career. Being brought up in a educator's family, my father, my uncle, they were from beginning teachers, and I have seen them and I have grown with that educators. Environment, and that's how I always dreamed about being a teacher. That I suppose was in my genes, or rather is in my genes, and then yes, that's how I really started. I realized it during my graduation itself, because there I wanted to really cross check my own knowledge, whether I am getting it and I can make the same knowledge reach the students. And that's how actually I dreamed for it, and I realized it as I was definitely a grown up.
Okay.
And staying back in the profession, I would say, is all credits go to my students. In a sense, that when students start reacting, students start getting what you are saying, then definitely that gives you, or that encourages you to take it ahead, and then you stay back because you remain relevant, you remain updated, you completely do into research mode, and then you keep on learning and unlearning, learning and unlearning, and that's really a wonderful process, and that's how you stay back in that.
You used a very good word here, I must say, unlearning.
Yes.
Can you elaborate a bit more on that?
Well, learning, I would say whenever I teach, basically I'm a learner, because teaching is one way that you are sharing the knowledge. But while sharing the knowledge, that moment itself, now you really get the reactions, and then sometimes you understand that okay, these things I really require to update on, or I really require to get deeper into. And that's how it is an unlearning process during learning itself. And then you also get it that okay, I can do it also in 2 or 3 or many more different manners, and that is learning and unlearning. So actually teachers are always like learning companions. So you keep on learning. It's a continuous process.
It's a never ending thing.
It's a never ending thing. No, because every time all students are different, their reactions are different, and then automatically you have to unlearn something and then learn something new.
Well said. Well, very well said. So, do you think there are any misconceptions as well when it comes to teaching?
Well, the misconception, first of all, it's a part-time job.
Right.
I completely disagree to that. Now, it is more than full-time job, because when you go for teaching, or when you select, when you decide teaching as a profession, first of all, you have to be so well prepared with all teaching tools, with lots of discipline, because you have to cover certain syllabus in stipulated time. You know the number of students in front of you, and that creates lots of homework.
Yeah.
So number of teaching hours is one thing, but preparation. So in our terms we say for dem Unterricht, während des Unterrichts and nach dem Unterricht. That is before the lecture, during the lecture and after the lecture. So
Right.
it is like a continuous process. So it is definitely not a part-time profession. Another thing, the misconception of teaching as a profession, many a times people say that if nothing else I could do, probably I will get into teaching. Now, basically, it is first of all a skill program.
Right.
Yeah. So, teaching, for that you require to have that aptitude. Like while studying, we say that if I want to do engineering, I require that engineering aptitude. Now, if I want to be interior designer,
Right.
I require to have that aesthetic sense inbuilt, and
Definitely.
then only you can really go for it. The
Yeah,
same
yeah.
thing is with teaching. It's a skill
Yeah.
job.
Yeah.
Na? Like what we
True.
talk about the professions, like now if I wish to be an architect,
Yeah.
say, let's say, then you require that aptitude. So teaching is a skill, and that's how anything else won't be done, then I can go for teaching,
Right.
is definitely a misconception.
Definitely. No, that's very true. Like
Yeah.
you say, na, ki, Sachin Tendulkar, if chooses to be a singer,
Yeah.
and Lata Mangeshkar chooses to be a cricketer. I mean, you can attempt that, but then unless and until you
Yeah.
have that inbuilt
Right.
in you,
Yeah.
somewhere it's a difficult task to bring
Definitely.
it out that effectively.
See, you
And
can
be that
have liking
successful.
for many things,
Yeah.
but
True.
not like that anytime and every time. I can't actually convert my liking into a profession.
True.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So I can like probably teaching, but am I really able to do that?
Aptitude is the word.
Aptitude
for
is
it.
the right
Yeah.
word. So
Yeah,
you
yeah.
need to have that aptitude. You must be ready to work on it, and that's how I suppose the misconception is, if not anything else, then only I can become a teacher, is absolutely a misconception.
It's like when you say,
If nothing is working out for me, plan B is teaching.
No. Teaching needs to be always a plan A only,
Yeah.
and there can't be, if at all you wish to become teacher, obviously,
True, true, true.
then it should be plan A and no plan B.
Like you can't look at it like from a backup perspective.
Not at all. Na? Because that's what we experience. Some people come down that. Now they work in some another field, and it doesn't work out over there, and then they come to teaching, and then the situation is really miserable.
Yeah.
And then actually they feel like running away. They don't get what they expect,
Yeah.
and that's how it becomes very difficult.
Yeah, no, I think what you mentioned earlier is actually very, very true. That it's not just about you entering a classroom and then just scrolling through the
No,
PowerPoint
no,
presentations
not
or
at
your
all,
lesson
not.
plans, or like just speaking out whatever is already written over there. It's never about it,
No,
isn't
no,
it?
no, no.
Like,
It is always between the lines.
Yeah.
What you have to speak,
Yeah.
you have to really interpret from the student's point of view.
True.
It is not like what you want to say, it is actually what they want to hear. Na?
Very
It is
true.
always
Yeah.
like that,
Yeah.
because what they want to hear, how they want to
How they
hear.
want to hear.
So you must be able to empathize with the students' outlook, the students' expectation.
Students' perspective
Correct,
matters a
correct.
lot. And
That
obviously-
matters a lot.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And then only you can be into teaching, otherwise not.
True,
Na?
true.
It is not just sharing the knowledge, because
Yeah.
many a times it is like people know a lot, people have
Yeah.
great knowledge, they have good number of degrees in front of their name, but if they can't convey it from students' point of view,
Very true.
uh,
Very true, very true.
yeah, that's how it is.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, you should. The back end is like a lot to work on, isn't
Yes.
it? Like,
Yes.
like you said earlier,
Correct,
pre-class and then post-class.
And
thing
during
which
class,
is
that is
during
most
class.
important, because there
Definitely.
itself it is learning and unlearning. That's how it is.
Yeah, true. That's true.
So, what is the most difficult part of teaching today that maybe someone didn't tell you about?
This, if at all people wish to come for teaching as a profession, they are never told about the today's mindset of students. Now,
Okay.
today's mindset of students is really, really demanding, because the information, the amount of information the students have. Earlier, the teachers were the only resource of knowledge.
True.
Yeah,
Very
and
true.
the students never knew anything, just either teachers or the books the teachers used to prescribe. That okay, you can get the information from these reference books
and-
or likewise.
Yeah.
But now teaching, actually he or she is a facilitator, and teaching actually goes nowadays on a discussion mode platform. Now it is more about discussing, it is more about cross checking your knowledge and giving the knowledge a right direction.
Okay.
Now, so that's
Okay.
how the students' perspectives or students' mindset has completely changed, and you need to know that, because this is not the known thing. When it comes to teaching, and teachers come and they start teaching and they don't get response, or they get cold responses, and that is really a horrifying situation. And then you yourself don't understand that what am I saying, am I saying right? No, so
Right.
this is completely something new. They are not well aware of, or it is never told, and that's how you require that before preparations a lot.
So when you say cold responses, what do you mean by that?
Okay, cold responses, that means first of all, what is most important is the body language.
Right.
Now, through the body language, the students definitely show some reluctance, that they are not liking or they are not understanding, and
Okay.
then that actually demotivates you. Yeah? If you get this kind of a response that they are not understanding, their body language is becoming stubborn, or sometimes the students start making chaos. Now,
Okay.
that means they don't wish to listen to you, because you are not saying anything, or you are not, I could say, you are actually not catering their interest.
Right.
And that is what is called response. And then you are somewhere very like confused about your own probable plan. And if you get these kind of responses, then you stand really nowhere, and that's how that could be very threatening
Right.
experience. And
Right.
I have seen some teachers actually going through this, and then they really they themselves become quite demotivated. That's a cold response, I would say.
Yeah, no, that's relatable as well. Like
Yes.
whenever I think anyone would just freeze maybe in that
Yes,
moment,
yes,
like
yes,
not
yes.
being able to
Correct.
understand and wrap their minds around
Yeah.
as to why am I getting this response from
Exactly,
the
exactly.
students where it's
So
not
this is-
expected maybe.
Right. This is two-way thing. Na? Teaching, learning is a two-way process. So it is not only the response of the students, but like you rightly said, that you become freezed. You
Yeah.
don't know what to say ahead, how to take it ahead, and that's where these kind of cold responses are definitely threatening.
So do you think that has increased these days over the
No,
years,
not
or that
actually.
has been?
Those were earlier definitely not increased, I would say, and that's why I said that teachers require to be so well prepared, so that, and this is not known.
Right.
Typically, when you get into classroom, and a classroom environment is not only what all facilities you have nowadays in classroom. You have a smart board, you have a projector, you have audio, video, all things set, facilities.
Yeah.
It is not only that thing. Or nowadays the classrooms are so well wonderfully equipped, is not only the thing.
Yeah.
The live thing, those are the students. And if you can't empathize with them, if you can't teach them from their point of view, then yes, then these kind of responses you should be, I would say, pre-calculate, and then
Right.
Now you should not give the students the chance to give these kind of responses. You have to make them always, or you have to keep them always in a very active mode. And when I say active mode, it is listening and reacting. Now because teaching is always action and reaction, so your teaching needs to be all the time, every single minute it has to be interactive. No? And teaching is not lecturing that I am saying and you just listen.
True.
Yeah, that is the thing.
So you have to be proactive and
Correct.
to keep the students active.
Correct. So you need to always give them a chance, na, at certain points, after certain time intervals, to react on the smaller contents rather than reacting directly at the end.
Right. Okay. Makes sense. Totally.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So how has the role of teaching changed over the past 2 decades, let's say?
Okay. Okay, I could also talk about my own teaching here as an example, because this is, I suppose, my 33rd year into teaching. And then for teachers, like if I talk about in 90s when I started really teaching, books were the only things which were available, and we need to do lesson plan, or we need to really do research from the books. Then everything manually is to be done, or what's to be done rather. And we used to make worksheets, we used to make or class tests, this and that, everything manually.
Yeah.
Now I would say over the years these things started changing, actually gradually. Now when today digital platforms are open. Now, so for teachers also it was quite a learning process, that they also had to get really acquainted with these digital platforms. Now earlier we used to have that floppy thing, for example, like if at all, right, PCs. And now for teachers it used to be like, or earlier I remember in 90s we used to write with hand our papers, and then we used to give it for typing. Then PCs came, and then we started typing our own papers.
Right. Question papers.
Question papers, I
Right.
mean to say.
Right.
Then it started like, okay, you can do it on your PC, you type and you get it printed. Then gradually these things have started changing, or then we had to draw anything and everything on the board, if at all you have to. And now this digital media is definitely helping us out, making our teaching process faster and efficient as well. So that change I could observe definitely in the last 2 decades.
True. So I think it's on multiple levels, like right from facilitating the course
Yes,
to
yes.
mentorship and everything. It has.
Correct. Now teachers are like mentors, or I would say learning companions, because it's as earlier also I mentioned that it is more of a interactive session. It is not only listening and then after reacting, but it is more, in German we say mitmachen. So you always participate. Now even if you are a teacher, you are participating in that activity constantly, whatever you do. Like it could be a text comprehension thing, it could be a grammar topic if you are explaining to them. Anything like I mean, sometimes we say teachers require to be a really a good actor. Because it is always a performance basis, and then, so sometimes you get a wonderful applaud, in a sense that yes, the students also like that activity, and they are always into it. And sometimes it is like, sometimes it is difficult, and there you have to support them. You have to, not, I wouldn't say that you have to correct them, but you just have to guide them about different methods of doing the same. So this is, I would say, the mentorship. This is a guide. So teacher is actor, teacher is a counselor, teacher is a guide, I would say. And that's a lovely, lively process, and that is the scene of every single class nowadays. So that is changing.
Yeah.
Even over the last decades, we always have seen the classroom picture as a teacher standing in front of students and students sitting idle on their benches and they are just listening.
True.
But now sometimes also for especially for language learners, now the classroom design is also different. So you can now move the benches, some for group activities, there is always some space, and that's how the dialogue needs to happen every single day.
Right. Oh, definitely true. I mean, we've spoken about the interactive
Correct.
sessions and engagement with the students,
Mhm.
talking and everything, quite a few times
Correct.
in the past segment of ours.
Yeah.
So I think that is something that has developed in the recent years. Do you think so?
Yes,
Like before that,
definitely.
interactive sessions were not something that was given that much of priority. Is that Or maybe
That was a
that was
tradition years
Yeah.
together. I won't say that, yeah, but like from my experience, own experience, my language teachers in school, they never have done this manner, like traditionally only lecturing, but we also got a chance to really speak. But very few teachers, as an
Yeah.
exception, I would say, but traditional
Right.
method was only listening, or the expression part was actually only checked and given a platform only on the written basis. So whatever the students
Okay.
must have understood, they had only written something and expressed. Now there is verbal communication. Now the presentations which the
Right.
students require to do.
Right.
Now sometimes they use the digital tools. They do different wonderful PowerPoint presentations, and with support of that, they really present certain topics. These kind of techniques were hardly used. There were definitely elocution competitions or elocution or monologues and everything. They used to be in the classroom, but not as a daily affair. Now I would say almost it is kind of a daily affair in the classroom itself.
Yeah, and I think
Yeah, and I think also the freedom for students to express themselves.
Correct.
Maybe it wasn't considered very obedient, or
True.
it was not the correct way
Correct,
of
correct.
behaving in a classroom for
Right,
students
right.
to express their opinions,
Yes.
to not cross question, but then to
But
question
to
what is
question,
being asked
exactly,
or what is being
right.
told to you.
Right. There you have the right point. Like
Yeah.
students were, so to say, not allowed to ask.
the ideal student.
They were correct. So they were, so to say, not allowed to ask. Even they had, or not allowed, but that wasn't a tradition. Like the students might have gone to the teacher after the lecture and might have even asked, definitely. But during the class, the dialogue was definitely missed out on earlier. And now I would say, especially for language lecture, there is lots of dialogue in the classroom. So rather, there is only dialogue in the classroom, and that's how it has
Right.
become more effective. And then it is not only written expression at the end of the lecture, but it is during the lecture many a times. And then the students are also open enough, and then they ask questions, it gets discussed.
Right.
And so it is more of activity based learning now.
So even when I recollect my experiences from my undergrad years,
Right.
so I did my undergrad in design. So
Okay.
obviously it was something very, very creative.
Absolutely.
We obviously had theory classes, but then the majority of the lessons were practicals. So obviously there have been times where asking questions was a bit difficult. Maybe because the teachers were a bit. I mean, I found it a bit unapproachable. The people teaching,
Yes.
maybe they were a bit unapproachable.
Yeah.
Not
Could
quite
be
sure.
the thing. Yeah.
But then that definitely did happen earlier. Like this was way back.
Back,
So obviously,
Yes,
but yeah,
yes.
I do get what you're trying to say here. Like
Yeah,
it's that was my creative field ka experience, and definitely nowadays it's coming
Yeah.
into the language learning as well, and obviously all the other subjects where
Correct,
interactive sessions and everything matter a lot.
Yes. So teachers nowadays have to manage the information.
Yeah.
Now, because students also have information, the teachers have knowledge about that information. So,
True.
which information is right enough? That definitely the teachers know. Students have now there will be two kind of information. One could be concrete,
Yeah.
and one could be probably confusing, because
True.
there is lots of information, and the teacher plays part here, that he gives the right direction to the information.
Very true.
Yeah. So they cater the information, they get deep into it, they do research, and that's how it is always a discussion or dialogue mode of teaching has started a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah.
So earlier we also spoke about being prepared before entering the classroom. So apart from just planning your lessons, is there anything else, like let's say how to talk, how to deliver, your resilience?
Yes.
Like we mentioned earlier, people tend to freeze when you get cold responses from the students. So is there anything of that sort that you think young teachers should be aware of?
Absolutely, because that is always a part and parcel of teachers training program. In that program, first of all, your posture, how you stand, how you walk, how you really have a correct eye contact with the students sitting in front of you, that also gets definitely trained. Then your board work, at how many times you really write on the board, how you write, what is the system, that also gets trained. Then the tone in which you speak, whether you are reaching out to the last bench student as well as the first bencher is not finding you loud. Now, so that tone, the pitch in which you speak, everything is to be considered, because as I said, teachers need to be good actors. Now, without a microphone, now their voice needs to be, or the tone needs to be loud enough, but not too loud for the first benchers and not too low for the last benchers. So
Right.
that is to be definitely trained, and then you don't get, and the body language needs to be free. As you earlier said, the student should find you approachable. In between, they can stop you, they can ask the questions. So it
Right.
should be free enough,
True.
correct eye contact with all students. It
Yeah.
is not just looking at certain number of students or only the first benchers. Now you need to have that right eye contact also with the students.
असं स्कूलमध्ये असं वाटायचं की ह्या टीचर ह्यांच्याचकडे बघून
Yes.
बोलतायत, म्हणजे मग ह्या फेवरेट आहे ह्यांचे, आणि यु नो
Yes.
these two
Yeah,
three
these kind
students
of
fall
no.
under favorite
You-
category.
And then the students won't respond otherwise.
Yeah,
Now, if
that's
you
true.
don't have the right eye contact, the right body language in front of them, now all won't participate then.
Definitely.
No? And it will disturb your own teaching then.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
you should be very well prepared and good trained, and so you have to practice it perfectly. Yeah, it has no theory, so to say. Now, but you need to practice it. You have to take it like it is, like as if you are standing every single day on a stage and the audience is in front of you, and
True.
how you would perform there, the same manner you have to perform.
So you've trained many aspiring teachers. So what gaps do you usually see in their sessions or demo classes?
Okay, wonderful question. Actually, when they come for layer probe, that is the trial lecture, or that is their practical exam. They go through the teachers training program. They become theoretically very, very strong enough. They do practice good amount of lesson plans, and the day comes when they have to come and give a trial lecture, or it is their practical exam. And that time itself, like everything is on the paper, and then they realize that okay, minute to minute it is always planned. Now minute to minute it is beforehand cross checked that okay, these activities will be planned, or here they will be giving some individual tasks to the students, or here they would probably ask them to do it as a partner arbeit or partner job, or in a group, something like. Everything is planned, and then when they really start, they are very, very enthusiastic that okay, yes, this is going to be really the thing what I wanted to do since long. Now I want to really practice teaching. And they are quite enthusiastic. They are also quite knowledgeable, very much intelligent. And the first day itself, now during their practical exam, or I would say the trial lecture, then they demo session, they realize, oh my god, when it really comes to be standing in front of, let's say, 20 plus students, and looking at them having the right eye contact, maintaining the right posture, maintaining, and parallelly really giving them or sharing with them the knowledge or the topics you require to deliver. And they are quite overwhelmed about it. And sometimes it could happen that okay, they start with whatever they have planned, and there can come maybe now a little gap, and then probably they forget, and the last minute they can't cope up with it, because for the first time for the demo class, and then they really remain stuck. And how to cope up with the students' response, because that, even if you can calculate beforehand, because according to the topic, to certain extent you can definitely calculate the students' response.
What kind of questions you might be
asked. Right. How many examples I have to put up to make this topic understand to them. Everything you can, but still at the last minute you can get another kind of a response, and then to cope up with that different kind of a response, then the teachers could get stuck. We definitely train them if at all this kind of thing happens, how to really cope up with that. But still, it is for teachers, or for them, always the first time. Some teachers really definitely cope up with it nicely, would be teachers I would say. And some teachers realize they cope up, and then at the end of the lecture, when we sit for discussion or analysis of what happened and what would have happened, then they realize. Another thing, sometimes it happens that in a flow they keep on giving the knowledge, or unnecessarily what is not planned, they start sharing that also. So and then they get earlier, as I have said, they probably get that cold responses. Oh, what was that? Actually, then they don't realize, and then they, for example, I would say, they are teaching them probably just present tense, simple sentence constructions, and then the teachers sometimes themselves don't realize that suddenly from simple to complex when they have reached. And then from students you might get cold responses, because in a flow it could happen. That is absolutely human. It could happen, but that's what that training is that required, and this could happen because knowing yourself the amount of German, or you're good knowledgeable about German, but now you must have given, like, let's say 4 to 5 years in studying this language, so you have a good amount of knowledge of German. But to become a teacher, it requires like maybe 20 more steps. So in 2 steps you can become a very good knowledgeable person of German language, but to convey the same, to deliver the same content, definitely it requires 20 more steps, I would say. Yeah, that's how it is. So these kind of things definitely happen during the practical exam, but obviously that's why the demo lectures are there. That's why those are the trial lectures. So you understand that theory is theory, and you have to practice in a very different manner. So obviously the baseline is definitely theory. Without theory there is no practice. But here I would say the teachers need to have that, I would practice the theory in a very practical manner, they should say, because they
Yeah,
can't stuck
yeah.
to theory, because the response is live response. Now you can't, even if you pre-calculate it to certain extent, you
Yeah.
can't be 100% sure. So that happens
True,
with the
definitely.
enthusiastic and with really good students,
Mm.
but that could happen definitely.
True. I mean, it's always there, and I think it's there. It's true for every field.
field,
Like
every
when,
field.
yeah. So
Yes.
for in my field as well, like in spite of going through all the theory sessions, we had internships, and when we actually used to go for internships, then we used to understand. Oh, I mean, it's different from
Yes.
what you experience in
Yes,
theory.
yes. So here in our
Practicality
field,
is different.
Correct. So
Yeah.
we call these students as practicantinen. That is, they are interns. So they are really putting in
Right.
practice whatever they
Yeah.
have learned. So
Yeah, yeah,
so this teaches you a lot. This is learning
For
unlearning
sure.
process.
yeah, definitely. And
You said a very good point as to with respect to oversharing.
Yes.
Like
that was a very
Because you feel like, okay, I know this also, I know this
Yeah.
also. So suddenly from present tense, when they reach to maybe perfect and even past perfect, they themselves don't realize, and the students give like that kind of responses like, oh my god, what was that?
what was that? Yeah.
And then sometimes you go from the current topic far away, and then after a lot many minutes, you realize, oh my god,
Yeah.
I have taken completely another turn which was not at all planned.
True.
so these
So these
kind of
things.
experiences, I think do you think it's just limited to the first sessions or the demo sessions, or that does happen?
In a regular
Sometimes
session as well.
yes, at the beginning it demo sessions, so definitely it happens. But even now, when you really become a teacher and you start, but there they are manageable. Here it is your practical exam. They are with experience, with
Yeah.
practice. Practice makes one perfect, we
True,
always
true.
say. So with practice, then you realize, because even as I mentioned that before lecture, during lecture, and after lecture, the teachers also have to. It is not only what the students have understood, but it is also the teachers required to cross-check their own plans
Yeah.
and what happened really. They have to jot down that also. So that
Definitely.
training also we definitely give them. Ki,
Yeah.
right? Okay, this happened and why this happened. So
True.
you also have to justify why this sudden turn has happened in the classroom.
So feedbacks. is something that
Feedbacks,
is very
feedbacks. Your own
crucial.
feedback to yourself.
Right.
Your
True,
own
true,
feedback to yourself, because
Ah,
what is
ah.
standing in on paper
Yeah.
as my plan, as my layer plan or a teaching plan, and what actually happened, maybe just for 2-3 minutes, not more than that, but something definitely different must have happened,
Yeah.
and you have to find out the reason for it.
And I think everyone is aware of it. Most of them are aware of it, I'll say. And
Yes,
you do
yes.
realize, oh,
I think this went wrong.
But then when
or
you
this
realize,
could
you have to
happened.
change, you have to alter. That is most important. So that is a learning process for you.
Yeah.
It happens, that's fine.
Being open to the
Being open to
feedback
accept, okay,
and your
yes,
yeah,
yes,
improvements and
improvement.
everything. Yeah.
That's most important.